Hey, what's up, lightboltjoe here. Today we are going to discuss the 2005 horror film Hellraiser Deader. So this is the 7th Hellraiser film in the franchise. There's 10, 11, 12 films, something. We're getting through them. This is, and I had to look this up, because 5 and 6 had nothing to do with Hellraiser, aside from the fact that it brings in Pinhead at like the very end or something like that, right? So the 5th, we have that crooked cop Joseph in Chicago. The 6th, we have Kirsty's crooked cop husband. Not a cop. Crooked husband. There we go. Trevor. And then this one, we have another reporter. Her name's Amy Klein. The actress who is Amy Klein did a phenomenal job with the horror aspect of this. Her screams and crying was very believable. Very hard to do. I will give credit where credit is due on that front. But 5, 6, and 7, from my understanding, were just spec scripts that were then taken by Dimension Productions and then added into the Hellraiser plot points. So then you throw in some Hellraiser Pinhead stuff here and there, Cenobite stuff here and there, Pain and Pleasure stuff here and there, to put the script into the Hellraiser universe. That's why 5, 6, and 7, 5 and 6 are just... they're good if they weren't related to Hellraiser, but since they're related to Hellraiser, it's just frustrating. And then 7 is a good example of that. It's good if it wasn't related to Hellraiser, but since it's related to Hellraiser, it's weird, it's annoying, and the actress does an incredible job with the character. So Amy Klein, this character, is a reporter. She's given a new case. She has to go to Romania to investigate the Deader group. They're people who kill themselves and then come back to life by this, clan member, if you will. So it's like, what's up with the mystic arts, or is there mystic arts? How are these people coming back from the dead? Now, 2002, we had the film Soul Survivors, 01, 02, something like that. And that was medical students killing themselves, bringing themselves back to life to experience that sweet hereafter. I'll take a Riverdale / Sabrina reference. So this is very similar to that 3 years later in regards to production-wise. So these people are killing themselves, coming back to life, because they're nothing, but they are something, and they're coming back to be something, whatever. So Amy is investigating this girl, Marla, who was killed or killed herself, and it's a matter of finding the breadcrumbs and finding the trail and stuff. She finds a puzzle box, as all Hellraiser films have. Opens the puzzle box. Pinhead talks to her, kind of saying that these people are eluding death and that's not fair, and he needs their souls or something to that extent. So she eventually becomes trapped in her mind, like the other 2 films, and eventually, because she opens the box, therefore her soul is now his by default. So then at the end of the film, Pinhead comes back after Amy's about to kill herself in regards to, appeasing the group, appeasing the Deaders. And the main group leader is faced by Pinhead, and he says something like, you should have stayed with your bloodlines, trade toy maker. And I'm like, but his name was never mentioned as merchant, so obviously he's a merchant. But like, who is he in regards to the actual lineage, and like, why is he doing this? So it's like so many unanswered questions are given to us because you throw Pinhead in the mix of this pretty good story up till the Pinhead revelation. It's weird. It's weird having these spec script films being put into the Hellraiser universe as an actual canon Hellraiser film. And then Pinhead eventually has his, Amy, you open the box, your soul is mine, and she figures a way to defeat that and says, no, you can't have my soul is mine. And she kills herself, and then he explodes because the transaction wasn't completed, and then off he goes into the box yet again. And another reporter picks up the box from the destruction of the explosion and says, this mystical box has not been untouched. So it's like, what happens next? I feel like it's frustrating just from the point of, we know how it ends. We know that Pinhead dies on a spaceship in the year 2127. We know that that's how it ends. So the films after the 4th are irrelevant to the plot because we know at the end of the 4th he dies. So it's a matter of what happens next. But give me a concise plot point. Like, I had a lot of issues with the 6th film we talked about. If we knew ahead of time that Kirsty was making a deal with Pinhead to frame, to trade in Trevor, her husband's soul, I would have been fine with that. But the fact that it was a twist at the end, it kind of infuriates me because That would have been a great plot point leading up. This is a good plot point. Amy trying to figure out the death of Marla, figuring out who the debtors are, stuff like that. But then she's facing her inner demons in her mind. And it's like, is she dreaming? Is she not dreaming? Is she coming back? Is she not coming back? And then all of a sudden Pinhead's like, yeah, well, I got all these debtors and now it's your turn. Now you're mine. And she's like, no, my soul is mine. And she kills herself. And then that's it. Explosion. It's like a lead up. And then like that reveal of the head leader being a merchant whose name isn't mentioned, but a toy maker. And I'm like, bro, like, give us more of that, though. Like, why did he start this stuff? Like, there's so many unanswered questions, and it's annoying because it has the potential, but it doesn't actually follow through on it. I don't know, man. I mean, I'm thinking more on a plot point, obviously, but when you have a franchise of stuff, it's not just the kill factor of things. Like, yes, Saw is a great, and I use Saw for a lot of these examples of Hellraiser, maybe because it's roughly this time period that a lot of the sequel films are coming about. Saw is, what, 9-10 films in or something like that, but they're all connected. It's all one story. It's all who did who, what, when, and timeline this and timeline that, and it's all connected. So with watching the Friday the 13th films, right, I tracked one film after the other. The first like 4 or 5 films are like the day after each other or something like that. Very neat. The Nightmare on Elm Street films, we tracked those as well. It's important when you're binging these horror films that you pay attention to certain details and certain things that Pinhead says or does, or certain things that Freddy or Jason say or do. It's important to carry over to the next film, whether it be a different timeline or a different multiverse. Michael Myers has many, I think 3 different multiverses. So that one, it's going to take me a while to figure out. Same thing with Leatherface. I've been avoiding those because those are going to take me a while to figure out. But Pinhead is linear. From my understanding, it's just been one universe, one Pinhead universe, one thing. So it's interesting having these spec scripts brought into the Hellraiser universe. Yes, but the twist is stupid at the end when it could have been the main plot point. Because that's a really cool plot point within the continuity of the story. Oh, I said it. I got the words out. It makes sense. Hellraiser Deader, 7th Hellraiser film. On to the next review. Which mahalo.